Next, I'd like to introduce our fireside chat. We're about to hear from two DBT customers who will share their vision for AI at their organizations, how they align data workflows to business value, and charting a course for success with DBT. Our session will be led by Brandon Sweeney, DBT Labs President and Chief Operating Officer. Brandon is joined by Kaylee Lavarini, VP, Director of Product Ownership and Data Strategy at Fifth Third Bank, and Srini Vimuru, Senior Director of Data Platforms and Engineering at Salesforce. Y'all know what to do. Please join me in welcoming Brandon, Kaylee, and Srini to the stage.
Thank you very much. Great job. Great job.
Thanks, Ali.
All right. Good morning, everybody. I'm still working through that clay squishing video. So let's give Ali another round of applause for a great job. Thank you, Ali. This is actually my first Coalesce in person. I actually snuck in before I officially started the role last Coalesce, but this is the first time I've been here officially. And it is an absolute privilege to meet with customers and meet with partners and just hear all the stories of how DBT has been transformational for people both personally and professionally. I love the board out in the exhibition hall talking about all the impact that DBT has had. And when you really think about it, what we're here to do is help people do better in their roles and build great career for themselves and make business impact. And it's about building that value. So maybe we can start real quickly with you, Kaylee. Let's talk a little bit about your background, a little bit of what you're doing today, and then maybe your favorite moment here at Coalesce.
All right. So, hey, Coalesce. This is my second time at the conference, so had a ton of fun last year. So needed to come back. Kaylee Lavarini, I'm representing Fifth Third Bank. We're headquartered in Cincinnati, Ohio, so some of you might know us if you're from the Midwest. Oh boy, my role. If you look me up on LinkedIn, my title will say Director of Data Engineering, and I'll always joke, it's like it's made up. I direct 0 data engineers. So my role is primarily, for the sake of industry events, Director of Product Ownership, and I've got accountability for our data strategy. And what that means is I've got accountability for end-to-end execution and delivery of our next generation analytical tech stack and lifecycle management of how we build data products and manage data products. And then tangential to that, I've also got the accountability for how we create learning opportunities to build better engineers through kind of like a data mesh federated development lens.
Great,
that's a lot. My favorite moment.
Yeah, what is your favorite moment?
My favorite moment at Coalesce. Honestly, loved the keynote yesterday and a lot of the product announcements that came from all 3 of the product managers. There's things like data control plane that I'll talk a little bit about today that we're like really stoked about. But a lot of the things that are coming out as part of yesterday's announcements really align to our vision and where we want to go.
Well, that's just great planning, isn't it?
It sure is.
I love that. All right, Srini, how about you?
So, hi everybody, my name is Srini Vimuru. This is my first Coalesce, so it is exciting to be here. So the event itself is pretty awesome. There's a lot of new product announcements. So my job at sales, I've been at Salesforce for 13 years now. That's a long time. So my job at Salesforce is, like I said, I do 2 things. I have a modern data stack platform and an MLOps team who are responsible for building the modern data stack and also bringing in the MLOps piece and MLOps platform as well. So, and then the second team I have is the team of data engineers who are responsible for building the foundational data sets using DBT. So those are the 2 main teams I have. So I support go-to-market functions like marketing, some parts of sales, etc. And so my favorite moment at Coalesce. So a couple of things. One is like meeting a lot of people, like a lot of the data geeks like me. So that's super exciting, talking to them about the challenges we have, how are we solutioning them, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a lot of like-minded people, so that's awesome. The second major exciting thing, at least for me, is like the partnership between DBT and Salesforce. So that even working at Salesforce, we'd not realize that that's coming. So we wanted that for a very long time. So that is like super exciting, listening to the keynote and saying, hey, there's a lot of partnership between DBT and then more integration between DBT and Tableau Pulse. So I think we have a lot of use cases we are thinking about, like how we can improve our reporting and dashboarding. dashboards with this integration. So that is super exciting as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, between what we're doing with Data Cloud and with Tableau and yourselves, so very exciting news as we continue to build some momentum across the ecosystem to help everyone in this room do their jobs that much better. Now, we just had great insights from Ali. Let's talk a little bit about how you're thinking about AI in your roles, and if you think a little bit about how you're thinking about DBT and AI use cases powered by DBT as you drive your businesses. Maybe we can start with you, Srini.
Yeah. So in the context of DBT and AI, so we are building a foundational layer of our data. Like, so our feature store is built using DBT, so which powers all our attribution models, so most of our scoring models within us for Salesforce B2B business itself. So we look at DBT as a tool which can define our foundational data sets, whether it's like, say, they're governed with data lineage, the metrics are defined in there, and then people can like, so our data science teams can pick up our data from a feature store and build their models for training and also for daily updates as well. So that's one way we're looking at DBT. And in the future-looking space, like, say, I really like the DBT Copilot,
right?
The features we're bringing in of analyzing the logs we have, because we are a large team. We have close to 200 plus DBT users, 75 which are my team. I'm not able to control my team itself to say, hey, don't do model redundancies, don't do model duplication. That's one thing we're trying to solve for. So we started building our own backend alerting mechanisms when people duplicate models. But I think DBT Copilot, I think it will help us a lot in figuring out, like, so how do we tackle model redundancy or model duplication, metrics duplication, et cetera, et cetera. I think that's with more power gets more responsibility
too. As you scale up from 200 to many more.
Yeah, so I think our target is for 5x more than 200 for DBT users. So I think DBT Copilot gives us a lot of ability to figure out, like, so operationally, how can we audit, how can we make sure that we don't duplicate the same persons, or two people are not doing the same thing within Salesforce and defining the same metric or the same data manipulation, et cetera, et cetera.
Exactly. Help people do more things to drive more business outcome and more value, and let's get rid of that duplication as you start to scale that 5x, right? All right, Kaylee, what are you thinking?
All right, so by the end of this 25 minutes, someone in the back is going to yell, Kaylee, stop talking about risk. So here we go. Fifth Third Bank, right? We're a bank, and all we care about from a data perspective is managing risk and managing data governance. When I think about AI specific to my role, I actually echo a lot of what you just said about I'm still anchoring to let's build highly consumable, very observable data products that then serve as the eventual foundation to advanced AI and ML ops. Fifth Third as a whole, if I scale back and just answer the question from what's the company prioritizing right now, it's really more just let's enable internal employees to be more productive. The cool thing that I will share is my peer, Jonathan Paul, who is also really vocal in the industry, has a new role centered around AI policy and governance, right? So again, taking the risk lens on it. He and I both report to our CDO, and so what'll be cool to watch is he's new in that role. We're still figuring out what it means. What does the AI roadmap look like across Fifth Third? But as you keep that adjacent to the modern data strategy tech stack and lifecycle and keep us close with our CDO's leadership, it'll be really interesting to see how do both of those strategies evolve together.
So. And then you think about it, regulated markets, very important. I mean, business impact, top line, bottom line, but it's also really risk reduction, right? Then you layer in speed and innovation, but for a regulated business, you have to really worry about that as you think about scaling up. Let's talk a little bit about your journey with DBT so far, how it's going, and just general feedback on where you've seen some success. Maybe we can start with you, Srini.
Yeah, so we started DBT close to 3 years ago. So our second year with DBT Cloud Renewal is coming up in a few weeks. Yeah. So we started 1 year with DBT Core. So we started with DBT Core. We're testing new things. And then we saw a lot of advantage in that, and then we moved into DBT Cloud 2 years now. So one of the things what I would say from an experience perspective, it is a lot of change. So I come from an ETL background, a lot of ETL background. So it's like our thought process is very different than what DBT brings to the table. So most of my team are all ETL engineers. So it was a lifestyle change for us, right? So it's more around like say, hey, connect to the source, do whatever you want to do. There's a UI, change whatever you need to change. So, like say, orchestrate, right? So that was our life. I don't know, for 20 years now. And then, but when we thought about DBT, it's a complete lifestyle and thought process change for us, right? So we need to think more like software engineers rather than ETL engineers. So that's a huge shift for us, for our whole team as well, right? So it took us time to understand, like, say, what needs to be done, like, say, hey, like going into, like, say, hey, pushing code to Git, like, say, going through the PR process, the CI process. So it's new to a lot of us. So that change itself and enabling the teams to do it, enabling teams to adapt to this new software engineering mindset took us a few months, but we were there. Like, say, I think when we were doing the DBT core, I think we learned a lot of things, what to do, what not to do, how do we put an operational plan in place, et cetera, et cetera. So overall, I mean, I think we slowly adopted to that, all the software development principles, and then as we moved, right now we moved 100% of the data loads we manage are 100% in DBT right now, right? So, and then we're getting more lineage. Like, so I think it's also an enablement. From an enablement perspective, we were talking about teams to document when they're writing the code, right, when they're writing SQL queries. And then with that comes automated lineage. There's a lot of advantage to do that. When we're asking them to document the metric definitions itself when they're building the DBT models. So all of those things, there's a lot of advantages. In the past, we say, hey, we do an ETL model, then we go to a different place and then document, like, say, what this table talks about, what this column talks about, et cetera, et cetera. So now we're bringing all of that into the forefront, so which helped engineers realize that, like I said, they're doing all the work in a single place, and which is much more value. Like I said, the data lineage is coming in the same place. They're able to build data quality tests in the same place. So all of these things, bringing to, like I said, engineers are able to see the value in it, and then slowly we're able to move all our engineers to using DBT, and they are much more happy bunch right now. So overall, it was a journny.
Right, it was a journey.
It was a journey. It's not like there's no magic. So we went through the process of it, but at the end of the day, I think there's a lot of value in it.
Yeah, and there's hard reality that there is a process and people change that has to happen.
Yep.
But the benefit on as you go to 5x is that agility and that consistency across the enterprise.
Yeah.
And so it is a journey. It's not an event, right? Mm-hmm. Kaylee, what do you think?
Okay, so I probably imagine that this is what people feel like when they tell a story about their kids. So I tell this story a lot. Like 3 years ago, our CDO, Nate Murray at the time, and his staff built a PowerPoint deck called Enterprise Data Strategy, right? And they handed it to us and they said, you got 6 months, build a team, go figure out how to bring this to life across the bank. Yep. Which is a really unique opportunity at a company like ours that is not a tech company. And so what we did was we built this crazy, amazingly talented, really small group of people and spent 6-ish, 8 months on building MVPs, assessing different vendors, build versus buy, building quick frameworks and knocking them down, and then really ultimately that's where DBT Core came into the picture for us, because it was a big piece of some of those early MVPs that have now grown into really standard parts of how we move analytical data and manage the life cycle. So that was Core. First comes love, then comes marriage, here comes DBT Cloud into the picture. I think at Coalesce last year, which was only a couple months into our cloud journey, we were sitting at, I don't know, like 20 to 25 users across both offerings, Core and Cloud, with maybe one data product in production using the entire pipeline. Today, we're sitting at about 50 cloud users and 70 to 80 to 90, depending on the day, core users.
Love it.
With like 25 to 30 data products in production and a whole slew of others moving through the pipeline. So the piece of advice in that is if you're sitting out in the audience as a user of one or the other, take some time, scale back away from the engineering of it and think about what's going to make sense for
long-term.
for the long term that actually is going to drive outcomes and then scale.
Yeah, and I love that, and it's the and, right? It's not either or, it's and, one DBT.
Right.
And we didn't practice this, but the first comes love, then comes marriage, and you tied it all together.
I just made that up,
and
yeah.
core and cloud, and I'm like, wow, well done on the fly here up on stage in front of 2,000 people, and more online, right? All right, so now let's talk about business impact, as we try to frame this again. Top line, bottom line, risk reduction, obviously regulated markets are massive scale. Then there's also speed and innovation. So maybe we can go right back to you.
Yeah, okay, so here we go with risk again.
Here we go.
You know, we're a bank, right? We're not a software company, and so new tech it's actually a really hard sell. The number one question I get asked at events like this is, how do you where do you get the sponsorship from your leadership? And I'm lucky that our leadership all the way up the chain does support this vision, and so I don't have to fight tooth and nail for the investment. However, where the investment is supported is in the risk reduction story. And so what that means in the context of DBT for us is we actually chose DBT to provide a control plane. So we were doing it before you were.
Amen.
So thank you. Thank you.
Kaylee. Thank you.
Love the functionality, love the feature, big fan. But we actually chose DBT we want the data mesh behavior and ownership. But at a company like ours, you can't go buy a platform that does that. It doesn't exist. So you have to pick a flexible framework that lets you build in central data ops and controls and harness metadata in a way that makes sense through the lens of our industry. And so the main outcome for us, although yes, it creates a smoother DevX, it decreases the cycle time to insights, all the things we're used to saying, banks don't care about that. They do, but what they care about is, do I have better visibility to data? Do I have better visibility to where governance is being established? Consistent, right. And we refer to it as embedded and automated governance, and that's our product feature that we anchor to. But for us, the main business impact of all of this is truly just more ability to manage risk in the way that we need to without your platform being opinionated about how we do it.
And we've given you the framework to do that, as you often like to say.
Yep.
All right, Srini, what are you thinking about business impact, that big Salesforce business?
So I think the time to insights is something which I can think of. So in the past, a pre-DBT world, right? So we always say our execs ask a different question every hour, right? So say whatever they ask today, they're not going to ask the same question tomorrow, right? So because they have other things to think about, right? Yep. So as the business is changing, they have different questions. So in the past, my analytics counterpart is somewhere here. She would say, "Hey, Srini, this is the question we had," and I'm like, "Yeah, okay, cool. Go to this table, join this, and then figure out what you want to do." Or I can write a query and dump everything into Excel, and then whatever they want to do on top of it, they can slice and dice or put it into Tableau and then figure out what they want to do, right? Yep. So it's like a broken system, right? So yes, so once we run the query, put it into Tableau, we're not looping anything back. So with DBT, so now there are heavy users of our platform right now. If I say, hey, you're going to cut DBT, I think she's going to kill me, right? So that's how.
We don't want that.
So we don't want that. So right now what we do is we build the foundational data sets as a central team, right? And then when the questions like this come up, what we ask our analytics team to do is say, hey, build these models, run it, automate it, manually run it. If that's what you need, manually run it, push it to Tableau. So if you want to redo it again, it's already there. And then if somebody in your team, say in Europe, wants to do this, they have this accessible to them, right? So the reason I say it's time to value is because, yes, what they did this, but if somebody else wanted to do that, so we have that already available. So we're saving a lot of time there. And then if you want to say, hey, this is good, multiple people are asking for this, okay, let's automate this into the foundation so that the whole company can have this. So then it's already built. So we just take that, build more governance or standards and whatever we do with the foundational data sets, then boom, it's available for everybody to consume again. So that's one thing. And then I say the fastest cycle times is because we're not duplicating things. Because somebody is doing this, and then if it's the same analytics team, different people can use it. If the sales teams want to use it, hey, this is what we built. It's searchable. It's all there. It's all documented, so they can reuse things. So we can do that. And then the documentation and lineage also gives a lot of advantages to you. So most of the times, like say, most of the questions we get is, okay, I like this number. Okay, how are you getting it? Like say, where are you getting this from? What is your source system?
Is it right?
Right. Yeah. So yeah. So I think to all of those things, I think once you build it to DBT, the lineage is like magic, auto magic. It's there. So that also is saving time not only for our analytics users or even time for us. Like, so nobody's coming to us and asking us like, say, hey, tell me how this is done, right? So like in the past, like so we used to do that, but not anymore. So in a way, if I can think about, if I want to summarize this, Tristan talked about his analytics lifecycle development, the ADLC.
Yep.
So I feel like that fits in perfectly well, where like it's continuous. We're continuously developing, we're continuously integrating, we're continuously releasing new models. So it's like we're gathering feedback, we're putting it back into the model. So I feel like that fits perfectly into the use case we have. So I think that's the value DBT provides for us.
Yeah, I mean, what I hear is that you look at Salesforce growing both organically and inorganically, and then on 90-day cycles, public company, and so the reality is everyone's got a point of view of what is the current state of the business. How do I agilely, quickly, and consistently provide feedback to the business to make those decisions? And that really reinforces speed to market and making the changes to the business to scale. And that's where ADLC helps provide that continuous loop. To make that easier for you as you scale. All right, as we start to head toward closure here, I love the one DBT theme, and so I'd love to hear your feedback and how you react to that. Maybe to you, Srini.
So, I mean, we are Salesforce. We do awesome messaging. So I think what one DBT tells me is DBT is like now enterprise ready. Not from like yes, messaging is good. Like say, I love the messaging of one DBT. It tells us like say hey like everything is integrated. There's all the tools, all the products are integrated, et cetera, at a high level. But there's some things which I'm like super excited about. One is the cross-platform support, right? I mean, who doesn't want cross-platform support, right? So I think we are a big company. Every team wants to bring their own databases in, bring their own data formats in, et cetera. So our Salesforce Data Cloud product itself is natively open data formats. It provides all the data in open data formats, like the Iceberg and Parquet. So any integration, the cross-platform integration will let us bring in both the data from like Iceberg tables and our data warehouse together into a single project. So that's cool. But the more cool is like the data lineage, right? So I think something is coming in from your Iceberg table, something is coming from a Snowflake tables, and both of them in the same data lineage. Like how cool is that, right? So I think for not only for the engineers like us, but for the end user, for our analytics team to figure out, hey, this data is coming in from Salesforce Data Cloud, this data is coming in from our Sales Cloud through our data warehouse. So that I felt like there's a lot of value. So that's one. The second one is I'm super excited about the advanced CI features that are coming up with including the DBT Copilot features. So those are the few things which I'm super excited about. Where at least I asked my team to take a look at this, figure out like how we can do quick POCs on this, and then figure out like so what is the advantages for us. So I think one DBT is a combination of everything, and from my thought process, it's a combination of everything, which is giving us all the awesome new features as well.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, we're eager to work, obviously, with Salesforce to figure out it is a multi-data platform world, and providing that optionality in the fullness of time really matters and drives a lot of business benefit. And I think you're right, Copilot obviously can drive great agility and scale and efficiency across the business. Kay, let's talk about some of your thoughts on what one DBT means to you.
Echo everything you said. So I'll take a different perspective on it and talk about it more from like a product perspective. I think, if anything, it's really validating in the decision that we made 2 years ago. And the reason behind that is we made the decision because we wanted a framework that offered flexibility for us to build our self-service data product pipeline platform, it's too many words, is bigger than just DBT. And DBT needs to continue to offer the flexibility for us to continue what we're doing on either end of that to bring the right kind of developer experience to who our users are, which are different than who your users are, which are different than who Amazon's users are. It doesn't matter. So one DBT to me is really just flexibility across core and cloud to continue to do that, flexibility for me and my team to continue to craft what the optimal developer experience is for Fifth Third Bank. And then flexibility to craft what the economics of investment in the platforms looks like, and how we support and continue to support our mission and vision, because honestly, it's going to continue to change. So working with a vendor and a platform that allows us to continue to change and listens to us really sums up what one DBT is to me.
I love it. And also with Visual Editor, it gives you an opportunity to meet people where they are, right, across the entire enterprise, which is super important. And what I appreciate here is the voice of the customer to us is incredibly important, and it guides our roadmap. And so the opportunity to talk with everybody yesterday at Siemens, at Roche, at Built, and then with Salesforce, and obviously Fifth Third. I hope what everyone here and feels in the room and online is that we really are listening, and we want to help you on your journey, and we want your loud and proud feedback on how we can keep doing better to help you do your jobs and do great things. So quick round of applause here for Kaylee and for Srini. Big thank you.